All right, let's dive into a novel with a title that is just so intriguing, you can't help but wonder what it's about. Arundhati Roy's The Ministry of Utmost Happiness. Now, this is a huge, sprawling, complicated story, and what we're going to do today is try to unravel how it tackles its own epic central question. Right from the get-go, the book basically gives us the instruction manual for how to read it. This one line, it's our key. It's a heads up that this isn't going to be a simple, straight line from A to B. The story is broken up on purpose because it's trying to hold up a mirror to a world and to people that have been shattered. It's a way of telling a story that feels almost impossible to tell. And really, this is the core puzzle, isn't it? I mean, when you look around at a world that's so full of conflict, deep divisions, and just personal pain, the idea of utmost happiness can sound like a cruel joke. So our journey today is to figure out the novel's really surprising answer to that very question. So where do we even start looking for an answer? Well, the novel begins in probably the most unlikely place you could imagine. The heart of the story is a guest house, sure, but it's built in a graveyard. Yeah. Right away, we're hit with this paradox, trying to find paradise, literally, among the dead. The name of this guest house is Jannat, and that's a huge clue, because in Arabic, it means paradise, heaven. So this tells you right away, this isn't just a building, it's an idea. It's this deliberate, almost defiant attempt to build a little slice of heaven on earth, specifically for people who've been kicked out of the so-called normal world. And this is the central tug of war in the book. On one side, you have the dunya. That's the world outside, the one we all know, full of violence, conflict, and all these rigid social lines. And on the other side, you have Jannat. It's this tiny little utopian bubble tucked away in a forgotten corner that offers a home to absolutely anyone who needs one. Okay, but this whole conflict between the outside world and this tiny sanctuary, it's not just about locations on a map. The novel takes this idea and drills down even deeper, showing us how these exact same battles play out internally, how the human body itself can become a kind of battlefield. The first person who really guides us through this world is a character named Anjum. Anjum is intersex, which means from the moment she's born, her very existence is a challenge to a society that loves its neat little boxes, especially when it comes to gender. Her story is a powerful, living metaphor for what the whole book is exploring. Let's break that down a bit. Anjum's body is literally a microcosm of the entire story. It contains both male and female, sure, but it also reflects all the social tensions of the world outside. She embodies this constant struggle for different things to coexist in one space. Through her, the book is really showing us the power in just embracing all that complexity, instead of trying to force it into one category or another. Okay, so we've been looking at the micro level with Anjum. Now, let's zoom out, because what this novel does so brilliantly is weave these incredibly personal stories into the much larger, fractured story of modern India. These characters aren't just living in a vacuum. Their lives are completely shaped and often scarred by decades of political turmoil. And this timeline gives us some of that crucial historical context. The characters are caught up in these huge events, from the long and brutal insurgency in Kashmir to the massive anti-corruption protests that took over Delhi. And these aren't just background noise in the story. They are the storms that these characters have to live through. But the book is, let's say, a little skeptical about these big moments of unity. It shows the movement as this huge spectacle, using the powerful image of a Gandhi-like figure to get everyone fired up and on the streets. But it also forces us to ask a really tough question. What happens when the crowds go home? Where does all that energy go? Does anything actually change? And here's a just heartbreaking example of how conflict can completely poison a place. You have the Shiraz cinema in Kashmir. It used to be a place for culture, for movies, for stories. First, it gets shut down by militants. But then it gets even darker. The army takes it over and turns it into an interrogation center. A place that was all about imagination becomes a place of torture. It's a gut punch. So, wow, with all of that destruction and darkness, where on earth do you find hope? Well, the novel pulls our focus right back to where we started, that graveyard, the Jannat Guest House. It suggests that the answer isn't trying to fix the big, broken world, but maybe it's about building a new, smaller one right in the middle of the rubble. And this isn't some grand political movement. It's a quiet but totally radical act of creation. Anjum just finds a forgotten piece of land and claims it. Then she opens her doors to all the other outcasts, the people society has thrown away. And they create a new kind of family, a place where everyone and everything, including animals and spirits, can belong. This is the real heart of the book's resilience. And get this. This is what it all leads to. The novel ends with a foundling baby, a classic symbol of the future, right? But this baby is being raised by, count 'em, 6 fathers and 3 mothers. I mean, talk about a radical idea. It completely blows up our traditional definition of family, of community, of what love can look like. So this brings us to the novel's final and maybe its most powerful message. That title, Utmost Happiness, it turns out it isn't about some grand revolution or achieving a perfect world. Nope, it's found in something much, much smaller and a whole lot more resilient. So here's the big takeaway. Happiness isn't something you find, it's something you make. You build it moment by moment through small acts of kindness, of inclusion, of defiance. It's found in having the courage to take all the broken pieces of a shattered story and just piece them together into something new and meaningful. And the book's final symbol of hope is so beautiful and so unexpected. It's not a lion or an eagle, it's a humble dung beetle. Just think about that for a second. A creature that finds its whole purpose in taking what the world has thrown away as waste and making something new and life-giving out of it. It's the perfect metaphor for finding meaning among the people and in the places that society has decided are worthless. And so that's the question we're left with. This isn't just a story about India. It's a question for all of us. When the big stories we're told start to fall apart, and when our own world feels shattered, where do we find our own Jannat? Where do we build our own ministry of utmost happiness? Something to think about.